Hey, I'm Sean.
And I'm MJ. Remember last time how we were exploring the big idea of how God can work through unlikely people? Well, today we're going to explore the big idea of how God can work through unlikely situations.
Totally. I remember a time when my friend invited me to his church, and I remember thinking it was huge and I wouldn't be able to connect. You know, people were dressing a lot more casual, and worship was just a lot different, and I didn't think it would be a place for me. And later on, I was in a season of growth, and I just needed something different. I wanted to grow in my faith, and I remember that church, and I went and visited it again and thought, hey, this is a place I think I could call home. And I have ever since.
That's so awesome, man. I am so glad that you're here and that we're able to journey with one another.
Yeah.
Speaking of journeys, let's check out how God journeys with Joshua.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. You won. One more time. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Yes. Oh, our friends are here. Okay, we're coming.
Oh, I'll scooch out.
Okay. Hi friends, my name's Paige. So one time I had just finished a piano recital and then my parents surprised me with the news that we were getting a puppy. And so a few weeks later we went to get her and I love her so much. You know, sometimes God uses really unlikely situations to help us learn something or to bring us closer to himself or to one another. And today's big idea is just that. God can work through unlikely situations. Today we're continuing in the book of Joshua. But just so you know where we are in God's story, let me just catch you up to speed. Joshua had to send 2 spies to go check out the city of Jericho, and they stayed with a woman named Rahab. Rahab was a very unlikely person to help the Israelite spies, mostly because she was known by the people in town as a woman who did things she shouldn't do. She lived a life that wasn't exactly her best, but Rahab did what she had to do in order to survive. The king of Jericho heard there were Israelite spies staying at Rahab's house. Then she helped them escape and made a deal with them that she and her family would be safe because she had helped the spies. They agreed and told her to tie a bright red rope in her window. When they went away, she tied the rope at the window. Now, the spies returned to Joshua and told him that the people were afraid of them and weak. It was time to head to Jericho. So, one morning, Joshua and all the Israelites started on their way. Orders were given to all the people. Watch for the ark of the covenant of the Lord. When you see it being moved, follow it. Then Joshua said, "Set yourselves apart to the Lord. Tomorrow he will do amazing things among you." Then Joshua sent a message to the men carrying the ark. When you reach the edge of the Jordan River, go into the water and stand there. The people packed up all their belongings and followed the ark. When the priests carrying the ark got to the edge of the Jordan River and their feet touched it, the water that had been flowing down the river stopped, and it piled up. The people were then able to cross the Jordan River toward Jericho. The priests carrying the ark stood in the middle of the river on dry ground until all of the Israelites had passed through. God told Joshua to have 12 men choose 12 stones from the middle of the river and place them in the camp as a reminder to them of what God did and as a reminder to their children. When all of Israel had passed through, the Lord told Joshua to have the priests come out of the river. So Joshua told the priests to come up. As soon as they stepped out on dry ground, the water of the Jordan River began to flow again. They went on a little further and set up camp again. The kings in the surrounding lands heard how God had stopped the waters, and they were terrified of the Israelites because of it. At that time, God told Joshua to have a ceremony for the people to show that they were committed to God. Later, they celebrated the Passover feast to remember the way God brought them out of Egypt. Joshua was near Jericho, and he looked up and saw a man standing in front of him with a sword. Joshua asked him, "Are you on our side or on the side of our enemies?" Let's read the reply. "I am not on either side," he replied. "I have come as the commander of the Lord's army." Then Joshua fell with his face to the ground. He asked the man, "What message does my Lord have for me?" The commander of the Lord's army replied, "Take off your sandals. The place you are standing on is holy ground." So Joshua took them off. After this time had happened, the Lord told Joshua that he was giving Jericho to him. This is how Joshua would take over Jericho. God told him to have his army march around Jericho once a day for 6 days. The priests were to carry the Ark of the Covenant, and the other priests were to have trumpets made of ram's horns. Then, on the 7th day, they were to march around the city 7 times. The priests were to blow their trumpets while they marched, and then the priests would blow a long blast on the trumpets, and the whole army was to shout. When they did this, God told them the wall of the city will fall down and everyone will go right in. So Joshua told the people what to do. They followed all the instructions, and on the 7th day, as they went around the 7th time, the priests blew a long blast, and all the people shouted. And sure enough, the walls came down. When they went into the city, they made sure to keep promise to Rahab. And they went in and got her and her family and took them out of the city. From that day on, Rahab lived with the Israelite people. And as we learned last time, she became part of the family tree of Jesus. God used kind of a strange way to take down the city walls, marching and shouting, but he did it this way to show that he is God and he is mighty. He is the one true God. This really shows us that God can work through unlikely situations. I'm sure no one ever thought that they could just walk around and a wall would fall down, but God set up a very unlikely situation to show that he is the one true God. He also worked through the strange and unlikely situation when the priest stepped into the water with the Ark of the Covenant, and all of the water moved so people could walk through the Jordan on dry land. God is super cool, and he does work through unlikely situations. And do you know what? I think he still does that today. A situation may look strange or difficult for us, but we can trust and know that God is at work in it as he works through his people, like me and you. Well, I'm Paige, I had a blast, and I'll talk to you soon.
It's fairly common to use intimidation to get your opponent to back down or surrender. I think the Israelites marching around Jericho must have been intimidating. But I don't think the people of Jericho simply thought the city walls would fall down because of that.
Absolutely not. I think they're probably expecting fighting or acts of war, but instead God surprised them by using an unusual method to bring the walls down.
Yeah, God often uses unexpected or even painful situations to work in our lives. Let's take a look at the story and see once again how God shows his love.
So I've been bullied at school. I felt sad, alone, and like no one really wanted to play with me, and I was picked last. It was just sad. My mom, she bought me a ball, and I've been using it a lot to throw it at the wall and catch it back. So yeah, that's what I've been doing.
I started noticing she'd go up in her room right after school. She wasn't really wanting to share as much. And then when she was trying to go to sleep at night, the tears would come, and I could see that she was sad and something was bothering her. So I just kept trying to probe and understand what it was.
Well, we went to go talk with my teacher, and she helped a little bit, and she kept an eye on the people that were bullying me, and it got a little better after that.
I had heard about the meeting house before. I'd been once before many years ago, and I knew this was a place that would welcome her, and it had a great opportunity for the kids for her own age to start feeling welcome, and I thought that would be the best place for her, and so we started going there.
As soon as I got to Kid Max, I'm like, are they gonna treat me the exact same way they did at my school? But they didn't. It was really fun, and I like listening to all the stories every week, and I love doing all the crafts. I have so many up inside my room. It's just been a great experience being there, and it's opened me to God.
Immediately, she started learning about Jesus and that Jesus is with her, and I saw the spark come back. And she had the strength to be able to get through the days, and we would then start introducing prayer into our nightly routine. Knowing that Jesus was with us, that for me was the guidance I needed too, so I could then pray and help her and just guide us into, where our plan needed to be next.
At church, I made a lot of new friends, and it's just so nice to know that people appreciate me for me and not for someone else.
So to make Selene feel more comfortable at school and knowing that she had long days ahead of her, my husband and I would bring the dog in, and so Luna's a beautiful golden retriever, hard not to love.
She just walks around. She's just so funny, and she's the friendliest dog that I've ever met.
And we found that the kids really responded well to her. And so that made Selene feel a lot more comfortable knowing that other people were running towards where she belonged. And that connection for her, and started learning about other kids that had dogs. And she started being able to meet friends and talk to other kids all through the dog.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
My birthday party was amazing.
So as Selene and I were talking about her invitations and starting to plan for her birthday party, we talked about what being a Christian really means and forgiveness, and was she ready to invite the whole class? And she really thought about it and said, absolutely, I want to invite everybody, and I want to make sure that no one's ever felt the way I felt.
We played games, and everyone wanted to sit beside me when I was blowing out my candles, and it was just like an amazing experience to see that everybody just loved me for me. The bullies weren't now my friends. They came to my birthday party. We had a blast. For the last few days of school, we were chatting, playing hand games. We were playing hopscotch. I started with just playing a ball by myself, and now I have like 20 friends trying to play with me.
It is amazing that God really, truly does work through unlikely situations, and we found that Selene having to endure this helped our family to understand that God is there and get through other issues that we were going through as well. So it's been just an amazing story at the end to know that God is with us and will carry us through right down to this experience today.
It's just so amazing to see that God can change your life for the better, and your parents can help you as well. I went from like nobody to somebody, so yeah.
Selene went through a really tough time being bullied and excluded from many things at school. But what a win for her and her family as they found a church community who loved and accepted them.
Yeah, God completely turned the situation around for Selene and helped her forgive her bullies and even befriend them.
Yeah, this is definitely not the typical outcome for those being bullied, but what a great example of how God can work through surprising, sad, and unexpected situations.
I agree. Let's break into our small groups now and see what this looks like in our lives.